"This engagement ring is fake, just like you," shouted the bride at the crowded altar. When the priest asked if anyone had any objection to the marriage, Amelia raised her hand. The bride herself. Absolute silence in the church. 400 guests, paralyzed. William, the groom, didn't move. He just held a wooden box against his chest. He knew this was going to happen. The perfume of lilies was sickening. Cell phone flashes exploded like fireworks. Amelia's Vera Wang dress cost $18,000, paid in 12 installments. Now it was trembling. Makeup ran in black lines. Front row, Catherine, William's mother, covered in inherited jewels, bit her lip. In the back, a guest whispered too loudly. Amelia heard it. The contrast was brutal. Staged luxury, animal tension. Something was about to explode. But Amelia wasn't there to get married. She was there to destroy the man who, for 2 years, had built a lie. She had found out. The engagement ring he gave her was fake. A synthetic diamond. $3,000. She'd had it appraised. Amelia believed she had been deceived from the very beginning, and she decided her revenge would be public. Jennifer, Amelia's best friend, held the bouquet with trembling hands. She knew because she had planned the exposure with her. Catherine clutched her Hermes bag. She knew because her son had told her everything the night before. Robert, best man and Williams, his best friend, stared at his phone. He knew because he got the screenshots first. He tried to stop the wedding. No one listened. Now all the secrets were going to explode, and everyone had something to lose. But this story didn't start there. It started 2 years ago when Amelia met William at a charity event and decided he would be her financial salvation. And 9 months ago when he proposed to her with a ring that held a secret. And 3 weeks ago when William discovered who Amelia really was. The truth had layers, and neither of them was innocent. To understand how Amelia came to raise her hand against her own wedding, you need to know 3 stories. The story of their first meeting, poised by elegant lies. The story of the fake diamond ring, which was a cruel test. And the story of the screenshots William kept in a wooden box for weeks. It all began at a gala night with French champagne and a woman desperate for a new beginning. Subscribe now and hit the bell. Stories like this can change your life. And you won't want to miss the next one. I promise it's worth every second. 2 years earlier, Amelia woke up at 6 every morning. Not out of discipline, out of anxiety. The rented apartment on the Upper West Side cost half her salary. 2 bedrooms, a view of the neighbor's wall, showroom furniture bought on credit. She was 48 with expensive brunette highlights, her body maintained at a gym she also paid for in installments. A personal stylist to socialites. She made a living creating perfect appearances. The irony was not lost on her. Amelia was known on the event circuit as the woman who always got what she wanted. Determined, charming. She knew exactly what to say in every situation. Her greatest talent was reading people, identifying desires, mirroring expectations. But there was a flaw that ate away at her from the inside, an obsession with financial security. It wasn't greed. It was terror. Terror of going back to where she had been 3 years ago. At 25, Amelia married Richard, an import-export businessman. 20 years of marriage. She took care of the house, the children who never came, his reputation. Richard took care of his mistresses and his secret accounts. When the divorce came, Amelia discovered she had nothing. No house, no savings, no future. Richard left debts in her name. On purpose. Revenge because she had asked for the separation. Amelia spent 3 years rebuilding her credit, her reputation, her life. She built emotional walls so high that even she couldn't see over them. The promise she made to herself was simple and brutal. She would never again be the idiot who trusts blindly. The impossible dream lived in a nightstand drawer. A magazine clipping. A Tiffany engagement ring, a giant solitaire diamond. She had kept it for 6 years right after the divorce. It wasn't about the ring. It was about what it represented. Security, stability. A man who could give her what Richard had taken away. Amelia looked at that clipping every night before bed. One day, maybe, if she played her cards right. The charity event was at the Plaza Hotel. Amelia was there for work. 3 clients had paid her to style their looks. Designer gowns, borrowed jewelry, the complete illusion. Amelia wore a simple black dress, Zara, but she knew how to wear it. Understated elegance. She couldn't compete with the matriarchs. That wasn't her role. William was alone at the bar. Tailored suit, no tie. Graying hair, thin-rimmed glasses. 52 years old. He watched the ballroom with a tired expression. He didn't belong in this circus. Amelia noticed. He noticed that she noticed. Their eyes met. William smiled. Not a social smile, a genuine one. He crossed the ballroom. "Do you work here or are you escaping?" Amelia laughed. Both. I thought I was the only one. You don't look comfortable. I hate these events. But my mother insists I show up. Your mother must be persistent. You have no idea. They talked for 40 minutes. William had been a widower for 4 years, lost his wife to cancer. A real estate developer, he inherited the company from his father. Discreet. He avoided ostentation, preferred small dinners to big parties. Amelia mirrored him perfectly, said she also valued simplicity. A lie, but a convincing one. Can I call you? Amelia hesitated for 2 seconds, just long enough to seem genuine. Yes. She gave him her number. He saved it in his phone right in front of her. A boyish grin. Amelia smiled back. But inside, the calculations were already starting. William had everything she needed. Stability, money, apparent decency. She just had to make him fall in love with the right version of Amelia, the version he wanted to find. The world of New York socialites operated like a dream grinding machine. Expensive events at 5-star hotels, dresses that cost more than cars, handbags that were investments, jewelry passed down through generations. Everything worked on invisible codes. Where you sat, who you talked to, how much your shoes cost. The women sized each other up in seconds, identifying rivals, allies, threats. Judgment was a national sport. Amelia lived on the periphery of this world. She provided a service. She was useful, treated well, but never an equal, never invited to private lunches, never included on trips to Miami. She put together the looks for the Instagram photos, but she wasn't in the photos. This position aided her. Amelia dreamed of the day she would be the client, not the provider. The day she would arrive at a charity event as a VIP guest, not as staff. The social hierarchy was brutal and clear. At the top, heiresses of old fortunes. Below them, wives of successful businessmen. Below them, divorcees with generous settlements. Further down, wealthy professionals. At the very bottom, women like Amelia, workers who circulated in the environment but didn't belong. Amelia accepted her position, for now, but she didn't plan to stay there. William was different from his circle, heir to a traditional construction firm, consolidated fortune, respected name, but he lived with an almost monastic discretion. An apartment on the Upper East Side, not a penthouse in Soho, a German car but an older model. He donated fortunes to institutions, avoided the spotlight. His late wife had been like that too. Discreet, elegant without showing off. William was looking to rebuild that. Amelia understood quickly. To win him over, she had to be the opposite of the women he avoided. Apparent simplicity, solid values, not asking for money, not mentioning brands, not posting photos on social media. Be a mystery, be a refuge. Amelia built the character with surgical precision, and William fell in love with exactly that. 6 months into dating, William took Amelia to dinner at an intimate restaurant. Only 2 tables. An award-winning chef. He held her hand across the table. I need to tell you something important. My former business partner tried to rob me. Forged documents. I almost lost the company. I found out in time. The lawsuit lasted for years. Since then, I've had trouble trusting. Amelia squeezed his hand. I understand perfectly. Honesty is everything to me. I can't tolerate lies. Not even small ones. Amelia swallowed hard. Of course. A bright red warning sign ignored. She should have told him about the debts right then. About the rented apartment she pretended was her own. About the installment payments that were suffocating her. But the fear was greater. If she told him, she'd lose him. She'd lose her chance at security. Amelia decided she'd tell him later. After the wedding, when she was protected. 2 weeks later, Jennifer showed up at Amelia's apartment. A bottle of wine. A worried expression. Jennifer had been divorced for 8 years. Bitter. Cynical. The only true friend Amelia had. Or so it seemed. Do you really love him? What do you mean? Amelia, I've known you for 15 years. Do you love asterisk him asterisk, or do you love the life he can give you? Don't be ridiculous. You're lying to him. About the apartment, about the debts, about who you are, I'll tell him. At the right time, you're building a house of cards. It's going to collapse. You don't understand. Jennifer refilled her glass. Oh, I do. I understand because I've done it. And it blew up in my face, but Amelia didn't listen. She was decided. The plan would work. It had to. The last moment of peace came on a Sunday. William's apartment. He was cooking risotto. Amelia was setting the table. Classical music played. He hugged her from behind. Kissed her neck. I'm falling in love with you. For real, Amelia felt something strange. Something that wasn't in the plan. A warmth in her chest. An urge to cry. Maybe it was real love beginning to grow. Or maybe it was just the fear of losing what she was so close to grasping. She didn't know anymore. "Me too," she whispered. And for the first time, she wasn't sure if she was lying. It was precisely this obsessive desire for security that would lead Amelia, 9 months later, to make the most dangerous decision of her life, to accept a ring that hid a secret, a test she didn't know she was taking, and one that would determine if everything she had built was real or just another illusion too expensive to maintain. 9 months of dating. William booked a dinner at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city. A reserved table, a view of all the city lights. Amelia wore the best thing she had. A navy blue dress, nude heels, her hair down. He was nervous. Amelia could tell sweaty palms, smiles that were too quick. They ordered wine and appetizer. The main course. William barely touched his food. Amelia started to break into a cold sweat. Something was wrong, or very right. When dessert arrived, he pushed his plate aside. He took a blue velvet box from the inside pocket of his jacket. "Amelia," her heart stopped. "I never thought I would feel this way again. After I lost Elizabeth, I thought there would be no one else. But you changed that. You made me believe in new beginnings." He opened the box. The ring was stunning. A solitaire diamond, brilliant cut, at least 3 carats. White gold. Reflections of light seemed to dance. Amelia was breathless. It was exactly like the magazine clipping she kept in her drawer. Exactly. This ring belonged to my grandmother. It was passed to my mother. It was Elizabeth's. And now, if you'll accept, I want it to be yours. Will you marry me? Amelia couldn't speak. Tears streamed down her face uncontrollably. They weren't calculated tears. They were genuine. For the first time in years, something inside her broke. The wall, a small crack, but it was there. Yes, I accept. William placed the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. He stood up, pulled her close, kissed her hard. Amelia felt the world spin. She'd done it. She'd done it. Security. Protection. A guaranteed future. But in the back of her throat there was a bitter taste. Guilt. Because she knew she hadn't told him everything. That his love was for the woman she pretended to be, not the woman she was. On the way home, Amelia looked at the ring under the streetlights. It shone like a promise, like salvation. She thought about calling Jennifer, but she didn't. She didn't want questions. She didn't want doubts. She just wanted this moment, this ring, this feeling that she was finally safe. What Amelia didn't see was the expression on Catherine's face, William's mother, at the next table. She was there. She had watched it all. And when William left with Amelia, Catherine remained seated, gripping her wine glass too tightly. Robert, who was dining with her, asked, "Aren't you happy for him?" "I am. But I have a bad feeling. That woman is hiding something." You always think everyone is hiding something, and I'm usually right. 2 months later, Amelia's power was shut off. She hadn't paid the bill in 3 months. All available money had gone to the wedding dress. $18,000. A recognized designer. She needed to impress. She needed the photos to be perfect. They would be on the internet forever. Amelia couldn't be seen as the woman who scrimped on the dress. Jennifer found out when she came to visit. The apartment was dark in the afternoon. "Amelia, what's going on? I forgot to pay." "I'll take care of it tomorrow." "You're lying." I saw the collection notices on the table. Amelia sat on the sofa, covered her face with her hands. "I'm drowning. Credit cards are maxed out. Rent is late. I bought the dress, the caterer, the rings. William offered to help, but I can't accept. He can't know. You have to tell him. I can't. He values honesty above all else. If he finds out I've been lying this whole time, he'll call off the wedding. And what if he finds out after? After I'll already be married, I'll be protected. We'll have joint assets. My debts will become his debts. He'll have to help me." Jennifer looked at her friend with a mixture of pity and disapproval. That's manipulation. It's survival. But what neither of them knew was that Catherine had hired Robert to investigate, discreetly. Robert didn't want to. He'd been friends with William for 20 years, but Catherine insisted, and Robert found it. Maxed out credit cards. Late rent. Old debts from the previous divorce. Amelia was not who she said she was. She was a desperate woman clinging to expensive appearances. Robert showed William the report over lunch. An empty office, door closed. William read it in silence. 3 pages. Every line was one of Amelia's lies. Every number was an omission. When he finished, he put the paper on the desk. He stared at the wall for 5 minutes. "Will?" she lied. "About everything. I'm sorry, I told her at the beginning. That honesty was everything. I warned her." Robert didn't know what to say. William stood up, walked to the window. New York stretched out below. Millions of people, each with their secrets, their lies, their masks. "What are you going to do?" William was silent for a long time. Then he turned, and there was something cold in his eyes, something Robert had never seen before. I'm going to marry her, what do you mean? But first I'm going to make sure of what she really wants. I'm going to test her. Well, that's not healthy. Neither is lying about who you are to get a wedding. Robert understood. His friend was wounded, and wounded men make dangerous decisions. A week later, William confronted Amelia. Subtly. Dinner at home. He cooked pasta. She drank wine. Amelia, I want to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Her stomach clenched. Of course, are you okay financially? Because I can help with the wedding. You don't need to worry about the costs. Everything is fine. I have savings, a direct lie, eye to eye. William saw it, felt it. Something inside him died a little. You sure? Absolutely. Honey, you don't need to worry about me. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. All right, then. That night, Amelia slept beside him, but William stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, remembering, going back in time, 10 years ago. His business partner forged documents, stole clients, nearly destroyed everything his father had built. William found out because he checked the numbers, because he hadn't trusted blindly. He sued. He won. But the lesson stuck. Trusting without verifying is idiotic. And now Amelia, lying, hiding, manipulating. The trauma hadn't healed. It had only waited. And now it was back with a vengeance. The next morning, Catherine called. I need to talk to you. It's about the wedding. Mom, William, she's not who she says she is. Robert showed me, I know. Silence on the other end, you know?
Yes.
And I'm still going to marry her. Have you lost your mind? I'm going to ask for a prenuptial agreement to protect the estate. Catherine sighed in relief. At least there was that. Will she accept? If she really loves me, she will. If she loves the money, she also accept. But I'll know the truth. William asked for the prenup a week later. Dinner. Wine. He placed the papers on the table. My mother asked for it. It's family protocol. I hope you understand. Amelia felt anger rise. Humiliation. As if she were a gold digger. As if she wasn't trustworthy. But she couldn't refuse. It would be too suspicious, of course. No problem, she signed. Her hands trembling with restrained rage. And in that moment, something changed. The crack in the wall sealed shut. The love that was beginning to grow was suffocated. Now it was war. If he didn't trust her, she didn't need to feel guilty. They were both playing a game. 3 weeks before the wedding, Amelia got a call from the caterer. Late payment. See, if she didn't pay in 2 days, they would cancel. She didn't have the money. Her cards were maxed out. She asked Jennifer to lend her the money. Jennifer didn't have it. Desperation began to set in. That's when she had the idea. The ring. It was worth a fortune. She could sell it. Buy a similar one. William would never know. After the wedding, with access to his accounts, she would buy back the original. It would be easy. Amelia took off the ring, put it in her purse. Went to the most discreet jeweler she knew, far from the places she frequented. The manager was a man in his 60s, reading glasses hanging around his neck. I need to have this ring appraised. He took it, put it under a loupe, examined it for 2 minutes. Amelia was sweating cold. Finally, he looked up. Ma'am, this diamond is synthetic. The world stopped. What do you mean? It's not a natural diamond, it's lab-grown. It's worth, at most, $3,000. Amelia felt the floor disappear. $3,000. The ring that was his grandmother's, passed to his mother. That was Elizabeth's. It was fake. William had lied. He gave her a fake ring, faked sentimental value, manipulated, deceived. The rage came like a tsunami. Years of humiliation, of effort, of the lies she had to tell to survive. Or now this. He'd given her a fake ring, as if she didn't deserve a real one, as if she was trash. Amelia stumbled out of the jewelry store, sat on a park bench, called Jennifer. He gave me a fake ring. Fake, Jen. It was all a lie. Calm down. Breathe. I will not calm down. He tricked me. Made me believe it was a family heirloom. An inheritance. And it was a lie. What are you going to do? Amelia looked at the ring in her hand. The ring that seemed so real, so perfect, so promising. But it was fake, just like everything in her life. Appearance without substance. I'm going to expose him at the altar, in front of everyone. He wants to humiliate me with a prenup? I'll show everyone who he really is. Amelia, think about this. I have. The wedding is happening, and it's going to be unforgettable. But what Amelia didn't know was that this ring had a story that would change everything. And in the next 3 weeks, the truth about both of them would be exposed in the most brutal way possible, because William also had a plan. And a wooden box full of screenshots. And 400 guests were about to witness the collision of 2 wounded hearts that chose revenge instead of truth. Jennifer arrived at Amelia's apartment that same night, bottle of vodka in hand. Amelia was sitting on the living room floor, still clutching the fake ring. Eyes red, makeup smeared. "Tell me everything," Amelia told her. "The jewelry store, the manager, the brutal diagnosis." $3,000. Jennifer filled 2 glasses to the brim. "You know why I believe you?" "Because it happened to me." Amelia looked up. "My ex-husband gave me a beautiful engagement ring, huge diamond. I posted pictures. My friends were green with envy. 2 years later, I found out he had a mistress. Spent a fortune on her. Trips, jewelry, an apartment. And for me, a fake ring from the mall. I was the wife for show. The mistress was the investment, Jen. When I found out, I wanted to die. Not because of the cheating, because of the humiliation. Everyone knew, except me. I was the fool of the story." "What did you do?" Jennifer smiled, but there was no joy in it. "I divorced him, but I should have exposed him publicly, shown everyone who he really was. I didn't, and I regret it to this day." "Do you think I should expose William?" "I think you should do what I didn't have the courage to do. Show the truth. He tricked you. He deserves the consequences." Amelia downed the glass in one go. The vodka burned, but the anger burned hotter. "I'm going to need your help." "What do you want to do?" "At the altar, in front of everyone. I'm going to scream the truth. That he's a liar. That the ring is fake. That everything he built with me is a lie." Jennifer hesitated for a second, but only one. "I'm with you." What Jennifer didn't say was the whole truth, that her motivation wasn't justice. It was envy. Amelia had what she never managed to get, a second marriage proposal, a rich man who was interested. And Jennifer, bitter and alone for 8 years, couldn't stand to see her friend get what she had lost. If Amelia destroyed everything at the altar, they would be equals again. Alone. Failures. And Jennifer wouldn't feel so invisible. 2 days later, Amelia had a panic attack. She woke up at 3 a.m, cold sweat, heart racing, couldn't breathe. She sat up in bed, looked at the dark room, and for the first time in years, she faced the truth about herself. She was 25 when she married Richard. A virgin, religious, believed in fairy tales. Richard was 10 years older, successful, charming, promised to take care of her forever. Amelia dropped out of college, quit her job, became a full-time wife. The first 5 years were good. Trips, dinners, gifts. Richard treated her like a porcelain doll. Amelia thought it was love. It wasn't. It was possession. At 30, Amelia wanted to get pregnant. Richard always postponed it year after year. Finally, at 35, she found out why. He'd had a vasectomy at 28 before he met her. He never told her. He let her try, month after month, year after year, taking hormones, getting tests, blaming her own body. When she confronted him, he laughed. "Did you really think I wanted kids to ruin my lifestyle?" It was the first crack. But Amelia didn't leave. She was scared. She hadn't worked in 10 years, had no resume, no money of her own. She was trapped. At 40, she discovered the first mistress. At 42, the second. At 45, she realized there had always been mistresses from the beginning. Richard didn't hide it anymore. He took the women to events, introduced them as friends, humiliated Amelia publicly. When she asked for a divorce, Richard was furious, not because he loved her, because he was losing control. He emptied their joint accounts, transferred properties to shell companies, put debts in her name, spread lies about her in their social circle, systematically destroyed her reputation. Amelia was left with nothing. A tiny rented apartment, a job as a retail clerk, 30 pounds lighter, deeply depressed. She spent 2 years like that, considered suicide 3 times. The third time, it was Jennifer who found her, took her to the hospital, stayed by her side. "You are not going to die because of that worm," Jennifer said. "You're going to survive. And you're going to prove you're stronger." Amelia survived, took a course to become a personal stylist, started from scratch, built a clientele little by little, paid off debts, restored her credit, but the scars remained. Invisible but deep. And now, sitting in bed at 3 a.m, Amelia finally understood. She didn't love William. She loved the idea of security. She loved not having to worry about bills. She loved the feeling of having won, of having gotten what Richard took from her. But she didn't love the man. And worse, she had lied to him so much that she no longer knew who she really was. The Amelia that William knew didn't exist. She was a character, a construction, a performance. She cried, alone, in the dark, for everything she had lost, for everything she had become, for all the wrong choices that seemed right at the time. But when the sun rose, the decision was made. She wasn't going to cancel the wedding. She wasn't going to confess. She was going to go through with it. She was going to expose William. Because if she was in the wrong, so was he. And misery loves company. Meanwhile, across town, William was having his own revelation. Robert came to his apartment, brought expensive whiskey. The two sat on the terrace. "I need to tell you something about the ring." William looked at his friend. "The ring you gave Amelia, it's not your grandmother's, is it?" Silence. "Will." "No, it's not." "Why did you lie?" William refilled his glass, drank half of it. "Because I needed to know if she loved me or if she loved the money. I bought a synthetic ring, $3,000. Told her the story about it being an heirloom. I waited. I thought if she really loved me, the value of the ring wouldn't matter. That's manipulation, and lying about who you are to get a wedding isn't." Robert had no answer. "But you know the funny part? I found out she took the ring to be appraised. My jeweler called me. He's a friend of the family. He knows all the pieces. Someone brought in a ring claiming it was ours. He checked it, saw it was fake, called my mother. My mother told me she knows it's fake, and she's planning to expose me at the wedding. I have friends among the vendors," she told the makeup artist. The makeup artist told the florist. The florist told me, so you both know. "And you're going to expose each other?" William smiled. But it was a sad smile. Pathetic, isn't it? It's sick. I loved her. I really did. For the first time since Elizabeth. I thought it was real. Maybe it was in the beginning. It doesn't matter anymore. Now it's war. Robert shook his head. "You're going to destroy each other. We're already destroyed," as the two plotted their revenge. The entire city began to talk. The rumor had leaked. Bride is going to expose the groom at the altar. The engagement ring is fake. She's a gold digger. He's a liar. The socialites loved drama, and this one promised to be epic. WhatsApp was on fire. Event groups, charity groups, gossip groups. Everyone had an opinion. Half defended Amelia. She deserves a man who gives her a real ring. He tested her like she was an object. The other half defended William. She lied about everything. She's a classic gold digger. He had the right to protect his assets. The 400 guests were divided. Some called to ask if the wedding was still on. William replied, "Yes, don't miss it. It's going to be unforgettable." A sarcastic tone. A dark promise. Amelia started receiving messages, some of support, others of judgment. An ex-client wrote, "You always seemed fake to me. Now I know I was right." Another wrote, "He doesn't deserve you. Expose him." Amelia blocked everyone. She didn't want opinions. She wanted revenge. Jennifer fanned the flames. She visited Amelia every day, reinforced the narrative. "He used you. You deserve justice. Show them all." But inside, Jennifer was smiling. The plan was working. Amelia was going to implode her own wedding, and Jennifer wouldn't feel like such a failure anymore. 1 week before the wedding, a new obstacle. The caterer called again. The payment hadn't gone through. Amelia checked her account. The check had bounced. Insufficient funds. She had forgotten she was overdrawn. The bank manager called. "Ma'am, you're $15,000 in the red. We need to regularize this." Panic. Amelia called William. For the first time in weeks. "Honey, I need help." "What is it?" "It's single quotes S.financial. Silence on the other end. William waited. Amelia almost told him. Almost confessed everything. The debts, the desperation, the truth. But her pride won. "Never mind. I'll handle it." She hung up. William stared at the phone. She almost opened up. Almost came clean. But she chose to lie again. It confirmed everything. She wouldn't change. She didn't trust him. She didn't love him. But what William didn't know was that his own behavior was guaranteeing that Amelia would never trust him. A vicious cycle. Two traumatized people reproducing toxic patterns. Both expecting to be betrayed. Both betraying first out of self-defense. 2 days before the wedding, Robert went to see Amelia. Unannounced. She opened the door in a robe. Her eyes swollen. "We need to talk." "Robert, what do you want?" "To save you. And to save my friend." He came in. Sat on the sofa. Amelia remained standing, defensive. "I know everything," William told me. "About the fake ring. It's about the test. And I know you know. And I know you plan to expose him." Amelia turned pale. "But you need to know the whole truth. William loves you. He really does, but he's scared. Scared of being deceived again. His ex-partner nearly destroyed him. He developed paranoia. The ring test was wrong. But it came from a place of pain, not malice. He tricked me. And you tricked him. About your debts. About who you are. About your motivations." Amelia sat down. Her hands were shaking. "He knows?" "He's known. For weeks." "Why didn't he call off the wedding?" "Because he's hurt too. He's angry too. You're both about to destroy each other publicly. But there's still time. Time to have an honest conversation. Time to call off this circus and start over. With the truth. Robert showed her a photo on his phone. An open safe. A red velvet box. Inside a giant ring. A real diamond. Unmistakable sparkle. This is his grandmother's real ring. It's worth almost $200,000. It's in the safe. He was going to give it to you. After the wedding. After he confirmed that you loved him. The plan was, get married with the fake ring, see your reaction over the next few months, and then replace it with the real one. But everything fell apart first. Amelia started to cry. Not from sadness, from confusion, from exhaustion, from the brutal recognition that she had become exactly what she hated. What do I do now? You choose, truth or revenge. Tomorrow at the altar you can destroy each other, or you can save each other. Robert left. Amelia was alone, with the most important decision of her life, and only 24 hours to decide. But Amelia didn't know that William was already preparing his own devastating revelation, and in 48 hours at the altar in front of 400 witnesses, everything would crumble in a way that neither of them could have predicted. Because when two wounded hearts meet at the worst possible moment, there are only two paths, healing or mutual destruction, and they still didn't know which path they would choose. Tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Seriously, I read them all and reply with love to everyone who takes a moment. Leave your like too. The night before the wedding, Amelia was alone in a hotel room, not the expensive hotel she had planned. A simple hotel in Midtown. It was what she could afford. 3 stars. Stained carpet. A smell of mildew disguised with cheap air freshener. She sat on the bed. The wedding dress hung in the closet, the veil on a chair, the white shoes on the floor. The phone rang. The bank. An automated recording. Your account is overdrawn by $18,000. Please contact us immediately. She hung up. Seconds later, another ring. The landlord. Eviction in 2 weeks. She didn't answer. Another ring. The credit card company. A lawsuit. She threw the phone against the wall. The screen cracked. Amelia fell to her knees, hands shaking, breath short, panic rising like boiling water. Everything was collapsing. There was no way out. If she canceled the wedding, she would be humiliated. She would be left with nothing. Again, if she went through with the exposure, she would destroy William and herself. The socialites would never hire her again. She would lose her clients, her reputation, her future. She crawled to the bathroom, threw up, acid burning her throat. She sat on the cold floor, rested her head against the toilet, and began to cry. Not a delicate cry, an ugly cry. Sobs that tore her chest apart. Snot, saliva, visceral despair. Years of restraint exploding all at once. The fear had a name. It had a face. It had a smell. It was the fear of going back to where she was 3 years ago. Broken, alone, invisible, disposable. Amelia looked in the mirror, saw what she had become. A swollen face, red eyes, messy hair. A 48-year-old woman pretending to be someone she wasn't. Buying clothes she couldn't afford. Building castles of lies. For what? To feel like she was worth something? To prove to Richard that she had won? To show the socialites that she deserved to be there? But the truth hurt more than any lie. Her worth wasn't in the ring. It wasn't in the marriage. It wasn't in William. If all that was taken away, what was left? Who was Amelia without the masks? She didn't know. And that was more terrifying than any debt. Amelia went back to the room, sat on the bed, picked up the broken phone. It still worked. She opened her chat with Jennifer. 23 unread messages. All encouraging. Tomorrow's the day. You're going to kill it. He deserves it. Show him who's boss. Amelia read them all. She felt nauseous again. Jennifer wasn't helping. She was feeding the worst part of her. She opened the nightstand drawer. Inside, an old hotel Gideon Bible. She wasn't religious. Hadn't been to church in years. But she opened it. Randomly. Proverbs 11:2. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. She laughed. A bitter, ironic laugh. Even God was sending her a message. A knock on the door. Amelia jumped, startled. She looked through the peephole. Catherine, William's mother. She hesitated. Thought about not opening. But she did. Catherine entered without being asked. Looked around. Saw the simple room. The expensive dress on a cheap hanger. The contradiction was stark. She sat in the only chair. Amelia remained standing. How did you find me? Robert told me where you were. What do you want? To talk, woman to woman. Amelia crossed her arms, defensive. Catherine took off her glasses, wiped them on her blouse, put them back on. She looked at Amelia with a deep weariness. I know you think I'm your enemy, the rich mother-in-law who hates the poor daughter-in-law. But it's not that. Then what is it? I'm scared. Scared of what you and my son are going to do tomorrow. Scared of watching two people who loved each other destroy each other publicly. He doesn't love me. He gave me a fake ring and you don't love him. You lied about who you are. Brutal silence. Catherine continued, her voice soft but firm. My husband died when William was 20. A fast-moving cancer. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. I was widowed at 45. With a company to run. A son to raise. Debts my husband had hidden. Do you know what I learned? Amelia didn't answer. I learned that pride is expensive. I spent years pretending I was fine. That I could handle it alone. That I didn't need help. I almost lost everything. The company, the house, my mind. It was only when I admitted I was broken, scared, and lost that I was able to rebuild. The truth hurts. But lies kill. Why are you telling me this? Because you remind me of me. 30 years ago, a woman too strong to admit weakness. Too proud to ask for help. Too scared to be honest. Amelia sat on the bed, her hands in her lap. I don't know what's true anymore. I've spent so long pretending I've forgotten who I am. Then tomorrow is your chance to remember. How? By choosing honesty over revenge. It hurts more, but it sets you free. Catherine stood up, walked to the door, turned. My son is wrong too. The ring test was cruel. He reproduced his trauma instead of healing it. But he loves you. In his own twisted, scared way. If you give him a chance, you can rebuild. With truth this time. Or you can destroy each other. The choice is yours. She left. Amelia was alone again. But something had changed. The anger began to dissolve. Giving way to something deeper. Recognition. Catherine was right. Pride was killing her. Slowly. The lies were suffocating her. The mask was too heavy. Amelia stood up, walked to the wedding dress. $18,000. 12 installments she couldn't pay. A symbol of everything that was wrong with her life. Buying things to look like someone she wasn't. Impressing people who didn't care. Building an expensive facade on a rotten structure. She took the dress off the hanger, looked at it. It was beautiful. French lace, beading, perfect stitching. But it was a lie, like everything else. Amelia picked up her phone. Called Jennifer. Amelia, I was worried. You disappeared. Jen, I'm not going to do it. Do what? I'm not going to expose William. I'm not going to use the wedding for revenge. Silence on the other end. Then, are you crazy? After everything he did, I did things too. I lied too. I manipulated too, but he tested you. He humiliated you. And I used him. I planned it from the beginning. I didn't love him. I loved the security he represented. Amelia, you're going to back down now? Become a doormat? No. I'm going to be honest. For the first time in years. That's stupid. Maybe. But it's my stupidity. If you do this, you're going to lose everything. I've already lost it. I just hadn't admitted it yet. Amelia hung up, blocked the number. Jennifer called again. And again. Amelia turned off the phone. She went back to the dress, grabbed a pair of scissors from her bag, stared at it. For 5 minutes. Then she cut. Once. Twice. 3 times. She tore the dress to pieces. Liberation. Catharsis. A symbolic destruction of everything she had built on false pretenses. When she was finished, she sat in the middle of the scraps. Cried again. But it was a different cry. Not despair, relief. For the first time in years, Amelia was doing something real. She picked up the phone. Called William. He answered on the first ring. Amelia? We need to talk. Before the wedding. For real this time. Where are you? She gave him the address. 20 minutes later, a knock. She opened it. William walked in. He saw the scraps of the dress on the floor. He looked at her. Amelia was in her bathrobe. Her eyes were red but resolute. There's no wedding tomorrow, she said. I know, but there will be truth. William sat on the bed. Amelia sat beside him. And for the first time since they met, they both stopped playing games, stopped testing, stopped manipulating. And they started to talk, for real, about their fears, their traumas, their mistakes, about who they really were beneath the expensive masks. The conversation lasted for 3 hours. There were tears. There was anger. There were painful admissions. But in the end, there was something that had never existed between them before, honesty. And that's when Amelia made the most important decision of her life. She wasn't getting married the next day, but she was going to the altar. And she was going to do something no one expected. She was going to tell the truth, all of it, in front of the 400 guests. Not for revenge, for liberation. And William, looking at her with a respect he had never felt before, decided to do the same. The final confrontation was about to begin. But it wouldn't be destruction, it would be a rebirth. And 400 guests would witness something rare. 2 wounded hearts choosing healing over revenge. Truth over masks. A new beginning over an end. The church was packed. 400 guests. White flowers on every pew. A crystal chandelier reflecting golden light. Photographers in position. Cell phones raised. Everyone was waiting for the moment. The moment that had been leaked. The moment that promised to be epic. Amelia walked in, alone. No father to walk her down the aisle, no romantic music. Just her steps on the red carpet. She wasn't wearing the torn dress. She had rented a simple one. White. No beading. No French lace. Just a dress. And the fake ring on her finger. William waited at the altar. Black suit, gray tie, the wooden box in his hands. Their eyes met. There was no love there. Not yet. There was something more complex. Respect. Recognition. 2 wounded warriors ready to lower their weapons. The priest began the ceremony. A solemn voice. Memorized words. We are gathered here today, ... No one was paying attention. Everyone was waiting for the explosion. Front row. Catherine, a handkerchief in her hand, praying softly. Robert next to William, rigid. Jennifer in the back, alone, watching with a bitter expression. The priest reached the crucial part. If anyone can show just cause why they may not lawfully be joined together, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. Amelia raised her hand. Absolute silence. Flashes exploded. Whispers ran through the church like wildfire. The priest was confused. William remained motionless, just holding the box tighter. I have an objection, Amelia said. Her voice clear, firm. This engagement ring is fake. A synthetic diamond. $3,000. And the man standing here is not who everyone thinks he is, an explosion. Guests stood up, shouted, took pictures, filmed, controlled chaos. The priest tried to calm things. My child, perhaps we should not... Amelia turned to William. Psst. Amelia turned to William. You gave me a fake ring. You tested me like I was merchandise. You lied about a family heirloom. You built a trap to catch me. William didn't deny it. He just opened the wooden box. Took out a tablet. Turned it on. Turned the screen to Amelia. To the guests, screenshots of conversations, bank statements, photos of documents. Amelia lied about who she is. She has $40,000 in debt. A rented apartment she pretended was her own. She planned this wedding as a financial strategy. I have proof. More chaos, more shouting, more phones filming. This was going to go viral. It was going to be a headline. It was going to destroy them both. But then something unexpected happened. Amelia laughed. It wasn't a nervous laugh. It was a laugh of liberation. She took the priest's microphone. It's true. Everything he said is true. I lied. About the money, about my motivation, about who I am. I got married the first time at 25. I was cheated on, used, and discarded. I was left with debt and trauma. I spent 3 years rebuilding. I met William, and I saw an opportunity. Security, protection, a guaranteed future. I used him. Shocked silence. No one expected a public confession. But he used me too. He tested me. He manipulated me. He gave me a fake ring to see if I was a gold digger. He investigated my life. He planned to expose my lies. We both played a game. We both lost. William took the microphone from her. You're right. I'm wrong too. I was betrayed by a business partner 10 years ago. Almost lost everything. I developed paranoia. A difficulty trusting. When I met Amelia, I fell in love. For real. But my fear won. I bought a fake ring. I created a cruel test. I wanted to control the situation, to protect my heart. But I only destroyed what was beginning to grow. He turned to the guests. My grandmother's real ring is in the safe. It's worth almost $200,000. I was going to give it to Amelia, after I had confirmation that she loved me. But I realized my mistake. You don't test love. You don't buy trust. You either choose to believe or you choose to be alone. Amelia took the mic back. So why are we here? Why am I at circus? Because William answered without the mic, his voice loud enough for all to hear. We both needed the truth. And the truth only hurts when it comes from the outside. When it comes from within, it sets you free. They stood facing each other, at the altar, surrounded by 400 witnesses. And for the first time, without masks. Do you love me? Amelia asked. I don't know. I love the version you pretended to be. I need to get to know who you really are. And do you love me? William asked. I don't know. I love the security you represented. I need to know if I can love the real man. So what do? We don't get married. Not today, but maybe one day. If we can rebuild with truth this time. William nodded. He opened the wooden box again. But it wasn't just screenshots. There was an envelope. He handed it to Amelia. What is this? A job contract? My company needs an image director. Salary, $15,000 a month. It's not charity. It's because you're good at what you do. And because you deserve a fresh start without debt drowning you. Amelia looked at the envelope. Tears fell. Why? After everything? Because I need a fresh start too. And starting over means giving without expecting anything in return. He took out another envelope, handed it to her. And this? A contract paying off your debts in exchange for your services for the next 2 years. Legal. Fair. No pity, no charity. Just business. Amelia couldn't speak. She just cried. William hugged her. It wasn't a newlywed's hug. It was the hug of two survivors who had been through a war and recognized each other. The guests didn't know how to react. Some were crying. Others applauded timidly. Others filmed in silence. Catherine in the front row was smiling through her tears. Robert let out the breath he'd been holding. Jennifer in the back stood up and left. Without looking back, without saying goodbye. Bitterness has a hard time witnessing redemption. The priest, completely lost, asked, So, there will be no wedding? Not today, Amelia answered. But there will be truth. And maybe that's more important. William took the microphone one last time. Thank you for coming. I know you expected a wedding. Or a scandal. You got a scandal. But we also learned a lesson. For ourselves. And maybe for you. Love without truth is a trap. Truth without courage is cowardice. Today we chose courage. Applause. It started slowly. Then it grew. It wasn't applause of celebration. It was applause of respect. 400 guests had witnessed something rare. 2 human beings publicly admitting their flaws, choosing honesty over pride, growth over revenge. Catherine came up to the altar. She hugged Amelia. Welcome to the family. Not as a daughter-in-law, as a daughter. Robert hugged them both. You two are either the bravest or the craziest people I know. Probably both, William answered. Amelia took off the fake ring, handed it to William. I don't want it anymore. When the time's right, if the time's right, you'll give me the real one. Not as a test. As a choice. Deal. They walked down the aisle together. Not as a couple. As allies. The guests made way. Some touched their shoulders. Other women, especially the older ones, looked on with tears of recognition. How many of them also lived behind masks? How many also lied to belong? How many were also afraid of being truly seen? At the church door, a guest stopped Amelia, a famous socialite. An old client. Thank you. For what? For having the courage I never had. My marriage has been a lie for 15 years. I live for appearances. Today you showed me you can choose differently. Amelia hugged her and she understood. The exposure wasn't in vain. The pain wasn't wasted. Sometimes you have to break publicly to rebuild honestly. Outside, the late afternoon sun, William and Amelia stood on the steps. Guests were leaving, commenting, taking pictures. But they didn't care anymore. What now? Amelia asked. Now we live. For real. No more lies. Even if it hurts. Especially when it hurts. They parted ways there. Each going their own way. Each with healing to do. But there was a promise in the air. A promise that maybe one day when they were both ready they would find each other again. And this time it would be real. The story didn't end with a wedding. It ended with liberation. And sometimes that's more important. 6 months later. Amelia woke up at 7 in the morning, not 6, not from anxiety, by choice. A new apartment, smaller than the last one, 1 bedroom, an open kitchen, but it was hers, paid for with honest work. No pretending, no impossible installment plans. She drank her coffee looking out the window. A simple view, the neighboring building, but it was real. The job as image director for Williams' construction company had surprised her. It wasn't a favor. It was a challenge. Amelia rebranded the entire company, humanized the brand, created a social responsibility campaign that went viral, positively. $15,000 a month. A real contract. Health insurance. Dignity. The debts were paid off in 4 months. The 2-year contract would be fulfilled. But after that, she didn't know. Maybe she'd stay. Maybe she'd start her own business. For the first time in years, the future didn't scare her. It intrigued her. William changed too. Visibly, measurably. He started therapy twice a week. Confronted his old traumas, the betrayal by his partner, the loss of his wife, the chronic fear of trusting. He hired a new partner, shared his responsibilities. He started working less, living more. On weekends, he volunteered at a financial literacy nonprofit, taught young people not to make the mistakes he had. To invest in people, not to test them. To trust, not to control. Catherine sold half of her jewelry, donated the money to a shelter for victims of domestic violence. I've kept these things my whole life. For what? To sparkle at parties? I'd rather they sparkle by making a difference. She and Amelia had lunch every Tuesday. Not as mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. As friends. Catherine told stories from when she was young, vulnerable, scared. Amelia recognized herself in every word. Shared pain diminishes. Shared wisdom multiplies. Robert got married. A whirlwind engagement to a teacher he met in a bookstore. Simple ceremony. 30 guests. William was the best man. Amelia was a bridesmaid. It wasn't weird. It was beautiful. Proof that healing is possible. Jennifer disappeared. Blocked everyone. Moved out of the city. Amelia tried to contact her 3 times. No response. Some people choose bitterness. It's not your fault. It's not your responsibility. It's their pain. You can offer a bridge, but you can't cross it for them. The 400 guests from the non-wedding became a legend. The story spread. Not as gossip, as inspiration. 2 journalists asked for an interview. Amelia declined. So did William. The story isn't a product. It's our life. But in private conversations at lunches over coffee, they both shared pieces. And people listened. Especially women. They recognized their own lies, their own fears, their own expensive disguises. Amelia and William saw each other. Not every day. Not as a couple. As friends rebuilding trust brick by brick. Work lunches that turned into 2-hour conversations. Occasional dinners where they shared victories and fears. Sporadic texts. Saw this and thought of you. Thanks for yesterday. Nothing forced. Nothing performative. Just 2 human beings learning to know each other for real. On a rainy Saturday in September, they met at the same coffee shop. Unplanned. A coincidence. Or not. Amelia arrived first. Ordered a cappuccino. Opened a book. William walked in 15 minutes later. He saw her. Smiled. Genuinely. He walked over. Can I sit? Always. He ordered an espresso. They sat in a comfortable silence. Amelia bookmarked her page. William watched the rain. There was no rush. No script. Just presence. How are you? He asked. Good. For real this time. And you? Me too. I've learned that loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of truth. And do you have truth now? I'm building it. Slowly. But yes. A pause. Rain against the window. The smell of coffee. Low music. A simple, precious moment. Amelia? Yes. Thank you. For what? For being honest at that altar. You saved my life. You saved mine too. He held her hand across the table. It wasn't a romantic gesture. It was a gesture of gratitude. Of recognition. Of 2 people who had seen each other at their worst and chose their best. Maybe one day ... double quotes he began. Maybe, she completed. When we're ready. When it's not about fear or need. When it's about choice. Do you think that day will come? I don't know. But I'm not in a hurry to find out anymore. They finished their coffee. Paid. Walked out together. The rain had stopped. A timid sun was peeking through the clouds. They hugged on the sidewalk. A long, genuine hug. Then they separated. Each going their own way. They both looked back at the same time, smiled, and kept walking. Sometimes love doesn't start with passion. It starts with courage. The courage to take off the masks. To admit mistakes. To rebuild from the rubble. Amelia and William learned that security doesn't come from an expensive ring or a fat bank account. It comes from knowing yourself. From accepting your flaws. From choosing truth even when it hurts. They didn't know if they would end up together. But they knew that, together or apart, they were now whole, and that was everything. Many women carry the weight of masks built over decades. Masks of strength when they want to falter. Masks of perfection when they are broken. Masks of happiness when they are just surviving. Amelia wore masks for years. She almost got lost under them. It was only when she had the courage to show them publicly that she found freedom. It's not easy. It hurts. It's exposing, but it's liberating. And freedom is worth every tear, every judgment, every scared step in the direction of truth. New beginnings have no age, no deadline. They happen when you decide you deserve to live authentically, even if it costs you everything. Because living with a mask isn't living, it's just existing, performing for an audience that doesn't even care. And you? Have you ever worn a mask for so long you forgot the face underneath? Have you ever lied about who you are to be accepted? Have you ever pretended to be fine when you were falling apart? Have you ever chosen appearance over essence because it felt safer? Share your experience in the comments. Tell us about the time you chose truth over comfort, or about the time you haven't had the courage yet but want to. Your words might be exactly what another woman needs to hear today to take the first step toward authenticity. Subscribe to this channel. Leave a like if this story touched you. Next week, the story of the woman who discovered her best friend had been her husband's mistress for 10 years. Remember, it's never too late to take off the mask and breathe free, with truth, with courage. See you soon.